Life isn't perfect, and neither are we.
Nope. But we know how to face our fears
And have some fun.
and talk about all the messiest things of life.
Like the messiest things.
Get connected to yourself, get connected to others, and get connected to the life right in front of you.
This is The Connected Life with Justin and Abby.
That's me.
That's you.
And you. Okay, guys, I'm very, very excited-ish.
We have something great in store for you. I'm somewhat excited about.
No, we're going to do a series on this podcast that I think is either going to be amazing or interesting.
That's true.
Because
we have no idea what's going to happen.
No, we've never done this. This is completely live. And so for those of you who haven't been listening to our podcast, this is my best friend's giggle in the background, Pietze.
Hello, hello.
Yes, we have been friends for over 30 years, which is disgusting.
Disgusting. Horrible.
Yes. I mean, the friendship has been great, but the amount of years that we are old is weird.
Yes, very weird.
And so she's been on this podcast multiple times. Me and her made a course together called The Pathway to Freedom. Discover how your emotions are trying to heal you. I think so many people, emotions feel out of control for so many people, and they don't know what they mean, why they're there, what's going on inside of them, how to get through them. Everyone's trying to kind of shove them to the side. And we really teach in the course how to actually figure out what you're feeling and learn how to move through it instead of resisting them. Learn how to move through them, which takes much less time and helps you really understand that your body and your emotions and what's going on inside of you is actually trying to help heal you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the key thing right here is, even for me personally, what we teach in the course has helped me take my most intense emotional moments, like the moments that I'm like, what the heck is wrong with me, or what just came out of me, or what, and actually understand what's going on inside of me, and not just understand it, but be able to move through it and then also heal parts inside of me that I didn't know I needed healing for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so we did a series a little while ago with Pietze and her husband about how this course dramatically changed their marriage, changed her husband's life because he had to edit the course. And so he had to listen to it over and over and over again. And the information sunk in and got through to his cold, cold, dead heart. No, I'm just kidding.
He came back to life. He's probably watched this course. He's mastered the course now because he's had to watch it so many times. But it really honestly my husband went from being completely shut down emotionally. Like I probably in a sum of 13 years saw him cry twice in our marriage.
Totally.
Just completely shut down, overwhelmed by emotions.
Yep.
Felt completely scared to feel anything. Everything was too much. He is probably more connected to himself now than I am. I feel like sometimes he's like, oh, I can feel the tears welling up. I'm like, what? Where is this coming from? But really, he's like, wow. And what's interesting is that, for most men, there's such a stigma around emotions of hey, it's not manly to feel, or you shouldn't feel, or we're taught to shut it down. And my husband, it was about maybe 6 months ago, we had gotten done working through something, and he was really connected to himself. And he's like, you know what is the weirdest thing is that I feel like way more of a man now than I've ever felt in my entire life.
Yes.
Because I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I'm not scared anymore. I'm not scared to feel. I feel actually more in control of my emotions, of myself, of being able to show up in a way that I want to show up powerfully in a situation that he's like, I feel way more manly than I ever have. Because we got through talking through something that was a huge triggery subject. And he's like, I didn't trigger at all. I actually felt totally connected to myself. So I just think it's really cool, the contrast of actually it's made him feel more manly, more
masculine.
connected to himself.
And I mean,
Yeah.
it's saved your marriage. And
And that.
the thing that people don't realize is when you're not connected to your emotions, you really have a hard time connecting to other humans. Like you have to be connected to yourself to feel that rich, fulfilling intimacy with another person. So we're about to run another course of the Pathway to Freedom. We run it once a year. And so you can go on justinandabby.com. That's justinandabi.com. And go to the Pathway to Freedom page and sign up if you want to now. We're going to be starting it in, I think it's August or September. I can't remember the date, but it's on the website. I'm dyslexic and ruin dates, but it is up there. So what we're going to do in this series, we think we're going to try, is we are going to work with a couple. So me and Justin have a life consulting school that we teach. It's called Life Consulting Masterclass. And we've taught people how to be consultants for years, and it's very fulfilling. And so we've invited a few of the students from the masterclass to come on to the podcast, and me and Pietze are just going to walk them through something that's going on inside of their world to kind of give people examples. We're not going to go through all of the steps and everything you'll learn in the Pathway to Freedom, but we are going to kind of put it all together so you can see what the process ends up looking like. And also because we've seen that whenever people work through healing on the podcast, people love it because they can relate so much to those individual moments. And it's really helpful to hear somebody connect. If you're having a hard time connecting, that's often a way that can help you get into that. So we also are going to run another life consulting masterclass soon, so you can go onto our website or email us about that as well. So today we have a beautiful woman named Kat Pratten. Welcome, Kat.
Yay, I can talk now.
It's so hard sitting there for the whole intro, isn't it?
It's so hard, and you guys are giggling and laughing, and I'm just like, don't make a noise while you laugh.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you. You can laugh. You're allowed. You're always allowed. Well, we're so excited to have you here, Kat. Why don't you tell people just a little bit about you?
Okay, cool. I'm so excited to be here too. A little bit about me. I am from Texas. I am 27 years old. I'm the youngest of 5 kids.
Wow.
I also had 5 dogs growing up.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Funny little thing. I could also
Wow.
burp the alphabet.
A dog
when
for
I was
every
a
kid.
Oh yeah, a dog for every kid. Yeah. Yep.
Did you have your own dog?
I did. Yeah. Her name was Winnie.
Did each person have their own dog?
No.
Oh.
No, we had
Just
a
you.
family
You were the
dog.
special one.
Yeah, we bred 2 of our dogs, and then I got to keep one of the puppies. So I got, like, the last of the 5.
Cute.
She was the baby. Yeah, she got to do whatever she wanted.
Oh yeah, I was the baby, and I mean, I will always fight against the stigma that I was spoiled. I will always push against that.
Except that you've already lost us because you're the only one who had your own dog.
Oh no! There were other ones that had their own dog, just not everyone had their own dog.
Okay.
So like multiple people were the favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was multiple favorites, and then there was a few like black sheep. We won't mention them.
No, we won't talk about them today.
What?
Sorry,
Did some of
siblings.
them literally just not want dogs? Were they like, meh? I feel like that could have been me. I could have been like, meh.
Yeah.
I'll just hang
You
out
totally
with
would have been
yours.
that way.
Yeah.
I'll hang out with
I don't
yours.
care.
There's
Fine.
enough dogs
Whatever.
around. I don't need my own.
I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
I don't need the work.
Yeah. By the time you get to 5 dogs, we really didn't need to add another one. I don't think anyone was wanting their own dog.
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
point.
That feels true.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was homeschooled growing up.
Oh,
Which
for the whole time?
Yeah, I went to public school one semester, but it wasn't a great fit. So it was interesting. I'm like one of the most extroverted humans that I know.
Yeah.
So that was not a very fun experience being homeschooled. But I did have 2 best friends that I grew up with who were also homeschooled.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we all lived 45 minutes away from town in the middle of nowhere with lots of cows. And they were like the best Jesus send that I could hang out with those 2 girls. They are wonderful, wonderful humans that I'm so close to today.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. So best friends since we were like 5.
I never knew you were homeschooled too. So
Oh, were you
Good job.
homeschooled?
Yeah. Oh. I didn't mean to. I just meant like oftentimes you can tell people who were homeschooled.
There's another stigma that I will fight.
There is this. Listen, that is true. And when people tell me they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were homeschooled," I was like, "Thanks." Because it's just because there's like you can be if you're not socializing as a homeschooler, or oftentimes homeschool kids are very adult.
Yeah, because we're only around adults.
Because you're around adults, and that's not bad.
Yeah,
you can just
No, I get it. I did know some homeschoolers that had that stigma going on for sure. Anyway, so fast forward, graduated high school, and moved to California to Redding when I was 18 years old to come to a ministry school, which was great. And I grew a lot, learned a lot. And then I met my husband
in Redding.
Yeah. He was a really good friend. He saw me as a little sister. And then one day I was like, hey, I don't think I should be your little sister. I think you should maybe think about asking me out. And
so you put a move on him.
I did. It was a little bit accidental, but that's a longer story for another time.
I like it. I like a woman who knows what she wants and goes after it.
Yes.
I definitely made myself sound a little bit more confident than actually what happened, but we'll just go with that.
But either way, you did it. That takes like...
Yep.
It takes
I was going to say that takes lady balls.
Lady balls.
Yeah. Guess I got some lady balls. I don't think my husband will like that, but...
Wouldn't it be funny if boobs were the term for courage for women? Like that takes some real boobs.
Well, let's start it.
I don't have very big
We're
ones
starting
of those, but they're inside.
That takes a solid set of boobs.
Anyway, well, it worked out great. We ended up getting married about 2 years after I had that conversation with him.
Aww.
And I love my marriage so much. I married an amazing man who has just been such a blessing to my life and served me and loved me and has helped me grow. And a few years after that, I decided I really love this emotional health world. I really love helping people get set free. I feel like it's probably the strongest gift that I carry is getting to see people and help them through stuff. So now I'm in the Stumballs Life Consulting Masterclass, which everyone should do their courses because they will change your life. Side note, the Stumballs are wonderful, wonderful humans, and Pietze as well.
Aww. Yeah, we brought you on just for that.
Thank you for outing me in there at the end.
Well, I didn't know you as well.
The third wheel tag on the end, like the training wheels on the back of the bike. Oh, and that she's pretty great too.
She seems cool.
She'll do.
No, totally. What do you feel like, just really quick, like with the masterclass, like what has been the most life-changing thing doing it?
Yeah. So one of the things I have us do in the masterclass is a thing called a trigger log, which is my favorite and my least favorite thing about the course.
100%.
Where we are supposed to write down every trigger that we have, which if you don't know what a trigger is, Abby and Pietze teach about it in the Pathway to Freedom.
It's true.
That's a lot of what they teach about. So we have to write down all of our triggers.
And
which
then there's 20 questions about each trigger.
Yeah. And then you have to sit down and go through not every single trigger. Totally. That would be overwhelming, but a few of them, sit down and go through a pretty big questionnaire. And that I hated it at first. I didn't enjoy that homework, but I trusted Abby and Justin. And so I stuck with it. It has created a habit of self-compassion in my brain when I'm triggered that is amazing. Like I feel so much more connected to myself because now when I get triggered, instead of abandoning myself or being like, Kat, what's wrong with you? What's going on? I have a habit of saying like, oh, hey, it's okay that you're feeling this right now. It probably makes a lot of sense. There's probably a reason. I'm with you. I love you. And I don't even think about it. I just automatically have that conversation in my head.
Which is so huge.
Cool. So
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I shut down a lot less often now because I'm staying connected to myself so then I can move through my emotions and stay connected with the person in front of me as well.
I love that.
So literally you've created a new pathway to freedom in the brain. Your brain has literally created a new pathway.
Yes, you appropriately named your course.
I mean, and that's the truth. The Pathway to Freedom is the course that we started our Life Consulting Masterclass with because it is the foundation of everything that we teach, which is to that self-awareness and that learning how to work through your own emotions. You can't help other people through theirs until you've learned your own pathway for your life. So I'm proud of you for digging in. A lot of people avoid that homework like the plague.
I can understand why.
I can understand why.
Yeah. So we're just going to jump in now, and we will have you share something that has happened recently that you've had emotions about, and we will just go in the process and see where it takes us.
Okay. Sounds great. So about 7 months ago, I happened to get a job at our local airport. I love to travel, so I wanted to travel. I've flown all over the world. One time I did a trip where I literally flew all over the world.
Wow.
So flying is something that I really love. 3 days after I got the job, I went on a trip and I had a panic attack on an airplane, the panic attack was so intense that, and I think I'm understanding why I developed this. I developed PTSD after that.
From the panic attack.
Yeah. After I had the initial panic attack, I decided it would be a good idea to really go after my fear and go on another plane. And then I just stayed on the plane and had a 45-minute panic attack while I was on a plane, which I think was actually a really bad idea.
Yep.
But I was like,
let's add to the PTSD.
Yeah. No, it wasn't great, but I had never been through anything like this before. So I didn't really know what was going on. So
I love that. Compassion.
So now flying on bigger airplanes is okay. I haven't been able to fly on the smaller airplane out of Reading since I had that panic attack 7 months ago. Yeah. So I've been doing lots of counseling, lots of somatic therapy, lots of inner healing, just trying to figure out like what the heck is going on? Why is my body reacting to this? It's caused me to feel claustrophobic in other areas of life too. And obviously PTSD means anything that feels similar to your body, then you start to feel panic and all of that stuff. So yesterday I was at work. So having PTSD, I've pushed through, kept my airport job. So I go on to these planes, clean them, and it has been great. I don't feel anxiety when I'm actually at the airport anymore, which is awesome.
That's huge.
I also do practice elevator rides just to kind of practice going after this fear. But yesterday I hopped up onto our little plane to talk to the pilot, and I was in the cockpit with the pilot, and I had another person behind me, and then people were boarding. So I became very aware of I'm in a very tight space and I can't physically get off the plane, even though it would only be a few minutes. My brain felt fine. My body, like, it was the first time I felt that much pain since I think the original panic attacks, where it's like, whoa, this is so intense. And I had forgotten. It's like, I don't remember the pain when I'm not in it. I just remember this is so much more painful than I'm aware of when I'm not in this moment. And it felt so disappointing because I've done so much work for the past 7 months.
Yeah.
And so then to feel that and like try so hard to stay connected to hope, but to just be working really hard, and for my body to, I think it's so scary because it feels like my body is attacking me.
Yeah.
And another one of the things I was thinking about yesterday was like, I think part of the reason why this has been so scary is this, like, it felt like it just sideswiped me and took me out.
Yeah.
And so there's this feeling of, one, if I don't figure it out, it's going to get worse. And also like what else could take me out? Like, if this did this, what else could come? And so it just is a very like weak and scary feeling of not knowing like what else could come.
Yeah.
Does
you
that
feel
make
really
sense?
out of control.
Yeah, very out of control.
And not sure. Well, because you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the entire nature of a panic attack is the most out of control feeling.
Yeah.
You know, it's connecting to, a lot of times, like when we experience panic attacks, our brain is connecting to something that feels very out of control and overwhelming that we can't process, that we don't know what's coming up. And then the way that a panic attack manifests it is if you've never experienced a panic attack, the best way to describe it, I think, I remember feeling like I was trapped and like the oxygen was escaping.
Yeah.
Like you're clinging, you literally feel sometimes like you're in a life and death situation that you're clinging on for life and you can't figure out how to get out.
Yeah.
You know, so the entire nature of it can feel really scary, you know?
Yeah.
Which, for listening to it, I'm just going to give a little logic before we jump in. But it is never about, am I doing enough work or not to get out of panic attacks?
Yeah.
That's never the way out. Working hard is not the solution for panic attacks.
Yeah.
So I am so proud of you for how much you've processed and faced. And I know that there's such a feeling when you're in pain, you want to do whatever you can to get out.
Yes.
And so the hopelessness is really, I don't know how to get out of this pain. Does this mean this pain will be here forever? But I've never seen somebody work their way out. And your body is not betraying you. This is actually the best gift that your body could give you. The panic exists in your body. Yeah. And the panic is looking for a way out. And panic attacks, I think, very rarely come about the thing that you're actually panicked about. Like,
totally.
I don't think it very often, like, I don't think you're actually panicked about airplanes and space and claustrophobia. I think there's panic that exists in your body, and that is a moment
it's getting triggered
that it found to get your attention.
Yeah. And just before I had the first one was a really busy season of life where I was abandoning myself a lot and wasn't sleeping. And we bought a house, helped a friend plan a wedding, helped with 2 baby showers, decided to do a really big course that was pretty expensive. Found tenants because we also had a rental. I think some other stuff. There was like a lot going on. Mm-hmm. So
I think it's interesting that you say that, Kat, because a lot of times what happens is that when we're in a season of busyness, we subconsciously self-abandon. Like we'll have emotions come up about like different things, but we don't have time to fully work through or fully process them. Yeah. So it kind of just ends up getting stored in our psyche, in the body, in the cells of the body. And then what happens is when we're in a place where we're rested, where we have time our brain is starting to subconsciously process through thoughts. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if sitting on the airplane, you know, you've gone through this really busy season. How long was that flight that you were on when the first panic attack came?
Well, the very first one, I actually got off the flight before we took off.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
And then the second one, when I decided to get back on, it was a 45-minute flight.
Yeah. So even just sitting there for that 45 minutes of just sitting on a plane, and sometimes it can also trigger like, I'm in this plane, I can't get out, and your brain is starting to process through things that can trigger, you know, even subconscious stuff that you haven't processed through.
Yeah. Well, and obviously what happens is we can abandon ourselves until something inside of us throws a big enough fit.
Which I think is, I mean, in my processing, I kind of feel like that's what happened. But now I'm like, dang it, I'm listening now, but I still have panic on airplanes.
Yeah.
This sucks.
Yeah.
So why don't we, I think we'll just take a little bit of time and kind of walk you back through. We'll see if you can, we'll see what happens. We'll take a little bit of time and go through some stuff from what happened yesterday.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Okay. So why don't we have you close your eyes and just put your hand on your heart. And I want you to just, I want you to think of a time that you felt really, really safe. That you felt really like comforted and protected and loved.
I have one.
Okay. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I'm just at the ocean. I lived in Australia for a little bit, so I'm just at the ocean in Australia, and no one is around. It's just me, and I just feel really connected to like nature and God and myself.
Is there a breeze
Yeah.
What does the ocean air smell like?
It smells a little salty, a little fishy.
Yeah. What is the temperature like?
It's like that perfect temperature. Like you're not cold, you're not hot. You just kind of feel like wrapped in the sun.
Is the sun shining on your skin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to just breathe in for a second. And then breathe out. And I want you to think about the feeling of being really safe and really protected. And then does it feel easy to connect to that, or does it feel like it's just something you're visualizing?
It feels like I can connect to it a little bit, but then there's some like fear that's kind of taking me out of it as well.
Okay. Do you know what the fear is? Is the fear saying something, or is it just like on the edges the fear is there?
It's just like this fear of like I'm not safe. It's almost like kind of that panicky feeling of like, I don't know, like don't sit in this too much because you're not actually safe.
So
Like it might go, you might lose it.
Yeah. Or
You might lose the safe feeling.
Yeah. Or if I fully connect to this, then I'm kind of like exposed
to being sideswiped again.
Yeah.
So Kat's heart. I'm so sorry for how scared you felt having something happen that had never happened before. I just see your little girl. Let's start with this. Can you see your little girl?
Yeah.
And what age do you feel like she is?
Like 5.
Okay. And what is she feeling or thinking?
And there's kind of like 2 parts of her. There's like the part that everyone sees, and then the part that she like hides away. And so the part that everyone sees is happy and smiley and bubbly. And then the part that she hides away is just scared and in pain.
Yeah.
Do you know why she's scared and in pain?
I think she just feels like, I mean, I was thinking about this just yesterday, like the amount of times that I have forced her to do things she didn't want to do and have made her like come out when she didn't want to, when she actually wanted to stay hidden. But I've I've kind of like pulled her out of this space and required her to show up. It's like she's just really angry.
Okay. So I want you to see her, and I want you to see the part of her that is happy. And I want you to see her as like 2 separate 5-year-olds. And I want you to see the part of her that is happy and is doing everything the way she's supposed to. And everybody loves that little girl. And then I want you to see the part of her that is sad and scared. And I want you to, would you like to go talk to the scared little girl, or would you like to bring in someone to come talk to that scared little girl?
I want to bring in someone.
Do you have someone in mind?
Spinny when I kind of like
try to approach her.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have someone in mind that you'd like to bring in?
Can you come talk to her, Abby?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. So I want you to see me walk up to that 5-year-old girl who's so scared and so little. And I want you to see me just slowly sit like a couple feet away and then like scoot an inch closer and look at her, and then scoot an inch closer and look at her. And then I want you to just see me asking her, like, is it okay if I come sit close to you. And just tell me what she says or feels or does.
I just see like she feels so ugly and like, why would you want to be with me?
Yeah.
Like she wants you to come close, but she's like, why would you want to?
Yeah. Oh, precious little girl. This side of you is so endearing. This side of you is so precious. I'm so sorry that you felt so judged. I know that you've heard your whole life that this is the bad part of you, but this is not the bad part of you. This is a really good part of you, and you really need love and affection and attention. And I just think about how little kids need eye-to-eye contact, and they need skin-to-skin contact, and they need to feel like they're adored when they walk into their room. And I want you to know that your scared little self is so worthy of me and my eyes lighting up when you come close.
Kat.
And I know that you've heard that this side of you isn't worthy, but this side of you is so precious. What are you thinking or feeling while I say that?
I just see like, this might sound weird, but I see like, it's like she had this like suit on that made her look really scary. And as you were speaking all of that, I just kind of saw her like come out of that suit. And I just saw you kind of step in like a mama as you were speaking over her, and she was just really dirty and like yeah, she needed to be taken care of. And so I just saw you like start to give her a bath, how a mama would take care of her little girl.
Yeah.
And there was something about like you being willing to look her in the eyes when she had that like scary suit on. Like that you weren't, I don't know, there's something about like as you looked into her eyes, it was like, oh, I see the little girl behind this scary suit.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I want you to see me like grab little Kat's face in my hands, like cupping her cheeks and looking at her with like tenderness in my eyes and a smile towards her. And I want you to hear me say to her, you can wear the scary suit anytime you want. You can get ugly if you want. You can get dirty if you want. None of that scares me. You don't have to be cleaned up and perfect. You can protect yourself as many times as you need to. I want you to know you're loved right now. I want you to know you're loved in the suit. I want you to know that you're loved all the time. You're worthy of that love and connection. And I'm right here, and there's no rush. You can be afraid as long as you need to be afraid. And you can want to hide as long as you want to hide. What are you feeling?
I'm definitely feeling like less swirly. Still a little bit swirly, but less and more connected to peace.
Yeah.
I think she's just asking the question still, like, but if I like trust this, like, but the next bad thing is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I won't be able to protect myself.
Yeah. Oh. It's so heavy to have to protect yourself all the time. It's so scary to always be on guard. That sounds really overwhelming. You must be really tired. You can never let yourself feel safe because you're just waiting for the next scary thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kat, I want you to see you and Abby, or I want you to see Abby and, your little girl in the scary suit together. But now I'm wondering, can you start to approach that little girl? And I just want you to walk up and just give a little distance, but just kind of stand in front of her. What are the thoughts and feelings that come up when you see this little girl?
I feel really scared of her.
Okay, tell me about that.
I'm really surprised by this thought, but I just kind of feel like it's all her fault.
Yeah.
Why is it all her fault?
It's like that's where all the pain is. And it feels like I'm like, you must be the cause of all this pain and fear. Like it's your fault that I'm feeling all of this.
Okay, so I want you to take a deep breath and then release with a sigh. Good job. Okay, now I want you to see that little girl is wearing, underneath that scary suit is a tender little girl. Can you see that?
Yeah.
A little girl who had no defenses in childhood, a little girl who had no boundaries, a little girl that had no way to protect herself from pain, a little girl who felt like she couldn't show up in her vulnerable self. And so she made this scary suit, right? She made this suit that feels really scary. She thought, if I can put the suit on, if I can be scary, then I can be big, then I can self-protect, then I can be okay. Because she had no other way of self-protecting. She had no other way of coping. She couldn't figure out what to do with all the pain. She couldn't figure out how to protect herself. So over the years, every single time something scary or wrong or bad would happen, she would build this suit. The scary suit. She would add it to the suit and say, I can protect, I can be okay. And I want you to see that over time that scary suit actually didn't protect her, did it?
No, it just made it worse.
And it made you reject her, didn't it?
Yeah.
You became scared of her.
Yeah.
You pushed her away.
So she's just so hurt because if I pushed her away, then it's like, oh, everyone did that.
Yeah.
Like if she's not, if she's not safe with you, she's not safe with anyone, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if you can just kneel down in front of her. And I want you to see that you're beginning to recognize that underneath this scary suit, underneath this place that has felt so scary to look at, this little girl is actually just a vulnerable little girl.
Yeah.
What age do you see her at?
She's like that 5 or 6 age.
Yeah, I see her as a 5-year-old too, in my mind is the vision I got. Okay, so describe to me what she looks like underneath the scary suit. Who was Kat at 5?
Well, it's interesting because she's still in the bathtub. And so she's fully naked, and I just feel like that actually feels appropriate to how vulnerable she feels. Like how just I guess vulnerable is the right word. But I just, I guess as I can actually look at her, I see like she has really pretty eyes. And she's just a little girl. It's too much. It's just too much for her.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel compassion for her as I can see like her.
Yeah. You can actually see her.
Yeah. And I feel like the fact that I've started to feel some compassion, like that swirliness kind of feels like it stopped, and she's like before it felt like if I would come close she would try to like bite me. But now she's kind of like, oh, maybe you like, do you see me? Like, I think you see me a little bit.
And what does she feel at the idea of you seeing her?
I think a little bit of like, finally.
Yeah.
A little bit walled off.
Yeah.
And a little bit like, this is what I want, but also I've been so hurt by you.
Yeah. So I want you to, would it be okay if, can you see me standing next to you as an adult? So like I'm standing my adult standing next to you as an adult. We're looking at this cute little girl in the bathtub. And go ahead, Pietze.
And I want you to just feel Abby's arm around you, bringing security to you right now. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Can you feel how safe it feels to not feel alone here and to be with someone who feels bigger than you in the situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you don't
really wanted that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want you to see that little 5-year-old girl who's so vulnerable in that bathtub, that she didn't feel that.
Yeah.
Can you connect to the places that she didn't feel like she had protection? That she didn't have someone that felt bigger than her? That she didn't feel safe to be a mess because there wasn't an adult big enough or someone big enough to handle it?
A little bit.
Okay.
Let's have you focus on, what does it feel to feel like I'm wrapping my arm around adult you and we're looking at this little girl?
I think it feels like really safe to feel like there's someone who can maybe handle all of this.
Yeah. Like you don't have to know how to handle it all. Yeah, this is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just needed somebody who was regulated and safe, who could be around the messy parts. You needed somebody who wasn't overwhelmed by what was happening. And I'm not afraid of that little girl. And I'm not afraid of your adult. And I'm just here with you, holding you.
Yeah. Okay, so when you look at that little girl, what is she looking like to you right now? What do you think? What do you feel when you see her?
I think she looks really cute.
Like
I can see.
So,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think she looks really pure.
So I want you to hear me just say over both adult you and her, like, it is not your job to have to know everything. It's not your job to have to regulate everything. It's not your job to be the biggest person here. I know as a little kid, you were looking for someone who felt big and safe. To be able to, every little kid needs someone to help them regulate. They need somebody that they can run to when their emotions feel out of control, that can help them get connected back to themselves and to feel safe again. Every little kid needs that place where they can be seen and heard, and they can sync heartbeats up with the adult that is safe, and they can breathe and feel the warmth of connection. Every little kid is looking for that warmth of connection to stabilize. So I want you to imagine me as I'm holding your adult you. You can feel me breathe in and out. And you can feel my love and empathy wrapped around you, my arm around you. And you can feel that I'm not stressed. My heartbeat isn't pounding. It's nice and steady and slow. And I want you to feel the warmth that you feel, like when you hold a baby on your chest, you can feel the warmth of their body. And I want you to imagine like me next to you, and you can feel the warmth of my arm around you. And you can just feel that deep, relaxing state. And I'm just going to ask you, like, Kat, how would you feel about moving a little bit closer to the little girl?
I think I can do that.
Does that feel, I don't want you to feel pushed.
Yeah.
There's no rush, and we don't even have to get to her today.
Yeah. No, I don't feel pushed. I think that feels safe.
Okay. So I want you to see me and you take a step forward towards your little girl in the bathtub. And I want you to see us after a step. We just stop, and I just breathe again. And then you just feel me at peace, and you feel total permission to just adjust. So I take time. I'm like, how do you feel this close?
I'm not sure like what word to put to the feeling. Maybe just taking a step forward, I felt a little bit apprehensive again, like, oh, is she gonna hurt me?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Kat, I just want you to see me just hold you there and say, we don't have to get any closer to this little girl. We can take all the time you need. You feeling safe matters. Would you be open to maybe Pietze coming in and Pietze going and playing with the girl in the bathtub?
Yeah.
So Pietze, do you want to narrate what you come in and do?
Yeah. So I want you to see that I come into the bathroom, and I want you to see that I look at you, adult Kat, and give you a loving look and kind of just rub your other shoulder like, hi, I see you. You're so safe. And I want you to see me in my mother's heart look at 5-year-old little Kat in the bathtub, and that she just lights up my entire face the minute I see her. That just joy comes over me because she's so precious and so cute. And I want you to see that I kneel beside the bath, and I've brought little toys, and I'm putting them in the bath. And how do you see little Kat respond to me as I'm interacting with her?
She feels safe, and I think happy to have someone play with her. She said she wants to get out of the bath and have you put pajamas on her.
So I want you to see that I take a cup of water and I just pour it over her shoulders to warm her up. before she gets out of the bath in a really loving way. I want you to see that I scoop her up out of the bath and I wrap her in a big fluffy towel. And I want you to see that I'm not in a rush to like, we need to get through this. We need to get you dressed. We need to move on to the next thing. That it's more for me about taking the moment to interact with her, that it's a moment of connection. I want you to see that I just sit on the toilet for a second and put her on my lap. And I just gently wipe off the water on her face and on her hair. And then I sing her a little song. And how's she responding to that?
I think she really likes it. She has a little smile on her face.
And what do you feel towards her while you're watching that?
I feel really happy that somebody's loving on her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I want you to see Pete. Sorry, we both jumped in.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I want
You got
to
it.
see Pietze just rocking her back and forth. She's wrapped up in a towel. She's like kind of cocooned in the towel. She's warm. She's sitting on Pietze's lap. Pietze's sitting on the toilet seat that's down, not an open toilet seat.
Yeah.
I want you to see Pietze just rocking back and forth and singing little Kat a song. And what do you feel when you're watching?
I started thinking about a little girl that I'm close with who's 5, like in real life, and how I feel towards her, and how cute she is, and how fun she is, and just like the way that I feel towards her. And so I just started imagining like that emotion and that feeling, like when I look at her and I don't think about like her flaws. To me, she doesn't have any flaws. She's like this perfect little 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And so I started imagining like what would that feel like to feel that towards myself, like to not look at her and see her flaws or the things that, you know, I don't necessarily love about myself.
Yeah.
But just started imagining like, oh, like that feeling of she's just a perfect little 5-year-old.
Yeah. So how would you feel if, I want you to imagine that next to the toilet is the bathtub. How would you feel if me, an adult you, went and sat on the bathtub? So we would be closer to the little girl, but Pietze would be holding her and I would be holding you.
That feels good.
Okay, so I want you to see me and you walk up towards the bathtub and then we both sit on the edge of the bathtub. And I want you to see me with my arm around your shoulder. How close are you to your little girl in your mind's eye? Like how many feet?
Like 3 feet away.
Okay. So I want you to see us closer to your little girl. And I want you to see me, my arms around you, and I'm kind of swaying a little bit, which is reminding you of what it feels like to be like a little kid when you get to be kind of rocked in a soothing way. And I want you to see us just taking our time, feeling really safe. And what do you feel being closer to little Kat?
Like that apprehension again. Like I feel a little scared. Like for some reason, like the thought of like me being physically harmed.
Yeah.
Kind of popped up the closer I got to her.
Yeah. You're scared that she's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And how does 5-year-old little Kat react with you getting closer to her? Can you connect to that?
I think she feels a little unsure. But I also think she feels like it's unfair that I feel scared of her. She's like, that's lame. I'm 5.
Okay.
I literally can't physically hurt you. It's like her kind of thought about it.
So go ahead, Pietze.
I want you to imagine that in that moment, as you're getting closer to her and she's getting closer to you, that you guys are both having emotions rise up about that.
Yeah.
That there's been so much pain here and so much separation that it does feel scary for both of you guys. And I want you to see that Abby is connecting in with you and I'm connecting with your little girl, but we're saying the same thing, which is that you're so safe.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything wrong. I want you to see me say to the little girl, you're not scary. You're not too much. You're not too, I'm here. You're so safe. And I want you to hear Abby say, you're so safe. I'm not going anywhere. You don't have to face this alone.
I want you to see Pietze look at your little girl and say, this is not your fault. I want you to see her look at your 5-year-old and say, you're not a bad little girl.
Yeah.
You're not bad. I know that you went through a lot of stuff when you were little, and it felt really scary and really overwhelming. You're not destroying Kat's life. You weren't the cause of the pain. You're not the cause of the panic. You're not the one who did something that made her deserve fear. You're a really good little girl. And I know you went through some really hard, scary things. I know you went through some really scary things. And I know Kat is scared that if she holds you, that those scary things will consume her. But that's not actually true. If she holds you, she's going to be able to feel that safety of being not alone. And she's going to be able to feel powerful, like she can protect you for the first time. Because she can't protect you when you're far away from her. What are you feeling, Kat?
It feels like a little bit like it just kind of hits a wall. Like those words sound so good, but she's like, oh.
Adult you or 5-year-old you?
5-year-old me.
Mm-hmm.
I think just like we've done a lot. I don't know if I can open up my heart to like receive those words right now.
So I want you to imagine 5-year-old Kat, and I want you to imagine her, instead of in the bathroom, she's in her life, and there's lots of places where she feels unsafe or out of control or like she doesn't know what to do with her emotions. And I want you to imagine that every time she's in a situation where something feels bigger than her and out of control, that she can run back into the bathroom and Pietze will grab her and scoop her up in her arms. So I want you to see her just go out into her life. Maybe she sees something really scary, and so she just runs right back into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And Pietze scoops her up. And Pietze just rocks her and holds her and says, "You're okay." And I want you to imagine that every time she experiences something crazy, when she runs back, Pietze just looks her in the eyes and says, "This is not your fault. You didn't cause this. You're not a bad little girl." And I want you to imagine me next to your adult self saying, "There's no rush. You can take as long as you need before you're able to reconnect with her. But I want you to know that she's not the threat. I want you to see me just, your hand is on your heart as adult you sitting there, and I put my hand on top of your hand and I just say, Kat's heart. The 5-year-old is not the threat. And when you reconcile with her, you're going to feel safer than you've ever felt. Because being connected to her is all she's actually needing. She's needing that longing. And being connected to her doesn't open her up for more craziness and chaos. Being connected to her allows you to protect her, allows you to set boundaries and do what she needs. Being connected to her actually helps you see pain coming instead of being blindsided.
Yeah.
And so I just want you to see me breathing in and breathing out. And I want you to see you feeling just the release of pressure. You don't have to get anywhere or be anything or do anything. You can be as mad at that little girl as you need to be for as long as you want. What are you thinking or feeling?
I mean, part of me is thinking, like, it's hard to give myself permission to not, like, to take as long as I want, because I'm like, well, if it'll make it better, I should go to her and I should fix this now. So it is hard for me to give myself that full grace.
So you want to abandon yourself to learn how to not abandon yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. You want to run over the little girl in you that's scared.
Yeah.
To get to the little girl outside of you
Because
that's
I'm like,
scared.
well, if that's the right thing, like, let's go for it and do it. And
yeah. The right thing is actually learning to attune and regulate with you.
Yeah.
Not running over you. The reason she has so much fear is because she learned to run over that thing inside of her that wanted to say no and wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
And so I just want you to repeat after me, heart.
Heart.
I'm sorry that I've been rushing you.
I'm sorry that I've been rushing you.
And telling you that you need to get out of this.
And telling you that you need to get out of this.
And through this.
And through this.
As fast as possible.
As fast as possible.
I'm really scared.
Yeah. I'm really scared.
And so I've tried to push you.
And so I've tried to push you.
But what you really need.
But what you really need.
Is for me to be on your team.
Is for me to be on your team.
What you really need.
What you really need.
Is to feel like I'm safe.
Is to feel like I'm safe.
You need me to care about you.
You need me to care about you.
More than I care about the result.
More than I care about the result.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
For having an agenda.
For having an agenda.
Yeah. And now I just want you to actually, we're going to do the same thing, but I want you to say this to your body. So take a deep breath in and release with a sigh. Good job. Now I just want you to say, body.
Body.
I'm sorry that I've been rushing you.
I'm sorry that I've been rushing you.
I understand that you're actually moving forward, not getting stuck.
I understand that you're actually moving forward and not getting stuck.
That you're actually trying to help me release the trauma.
That you're actually trying to help me release the trauma.
That every time you feel something in your body,
that every time I feel something in my body,
that it's my body's way of letting it go.
That it's my body's way of letting it go.
And you're allowed to be in process.
You're allowed to be in process.
And you're safe to be in process.
You're safe to be in process.
And I'm sorry for judging you.
I'm sorry for judging you.
I'm sorry for pushing you
I'm sorry for pushing you
when you've been trying to help me the whole time.
when you've been trying to help me the whole time.
I'm sorry that I tried to do what I thought was right
I'm sorry that I tried to do what I thought was right
more than what you needed.
more than what you needed.
I want you to see yourself when you forced yourself on the airplane the second time.
Yes, you got that.
And I want you to just say, precious woman,
Precious woman.
I was trying my best
I was trying my best
to take care of you
to take care of you
and to help you.
and to help you.
But I was running over you.
But I was running over you.
And I'm so sorry.
And I'm so sorry.
You don't have to get on that plane.
You don't have to get on that plane.
It's okay that you have fear coming up.
It's okay that you have fear coming up.
That doesn't mean you're weak.
That doesn't mean you're weak.
And I don't have to strong arm you through this.
And I don't have to strong arm you through this.
I can be gentle
I can be gentle
and patient
and patient
and present
and present
with you
Yeah.
through this.
with you through this.
And I don't have to put on a scary suit in order to self-protect.
And I don't have to put on a scary suit in order to self-protect.
I can just let you be vulnerable,
I can just let you be vulnerable.
and I can love you in that.
And I can love you in that.
You're so safe.
You're so safe.
What are you thinking or feeling?
That feels really nice
Hmm.
to not like force myself. And I think my eyes stuck together from my mascara. I didn't quite open as fast as I expected. I think I have had like such an agenda with myself of needing myself to be better and figure this out, and feeling weak and not brave and not strong. And so I think that just feels really nice to like give myself that permission.
It's interesting because it's the very opposite. It takes so much more courage to let yourself feel what it needs to feel
Yeah.
and to let yourself grieve what it needs to grieve. And
Yeah.
It
what
takes
did you
more.
what did you feel right then?
I just
Yeah.
felt emotion because I think something I've been struggling with is like if I were more brave,
Hmm.
I wouldn't like still be scared.
No.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think I've just shamed myself a lot for not being braver to be able to get on the airplane and be okay.
No.
Aw.
Yeah. I think you've defined it as weakness. And I think
Yeah.
having gone through PTSD myself,
Yeah.
I find the fear is a voice telling me to validate that I went through something really scary. The fear is trying to tell me, hey, you did not pay attention to something that really affected you in the past.
Yeah.
And so running over myself again
Yeah.
literally is compounding the PTSD.
Yeah.
And it takes, just like Pietze was saying earlier, like her husband learning to feel felt way more masculine to him than weak.
Yeah.
And you allowing, like, honestly, this is going to sound horrific to you, but if you could even tell yourself, like, if it takes you a year or 2 or 3 to work through this, you have permission to take the time that you need.
Yeah.
Like, brave to me is facing your feelings and being on your own team,
Yeah.
much more than brave is fixing the airplane scenario.
Yeah.
Like, fixing the airplane scenario keeps you and the 5-year-old separated.
Yeah.
And what every person needs to feel safe is they need to have the tear, TEAR, that's tear, However you
Terror,
Like the rip?
not terror,
No,
not like
terror.
fear, like the
Like
rip,
a tear.
like a rip.
Yeah, like a rip.
It is okay.
Yeah.
Tear. The tear that happens in the human soul when we disconnect from ourselves, which often happens when we have trauma of any sort and we run over it, whether it's when we were a little kid or when we were an adult. I've had both kinds of tears where I kept saying I won't be okay until externally I know that I'm going to be safe forever. Like I kept saying that I'm never going to be okay. I'm never going to be okay. And the only thing that actually calmed that was for me to get back together with little me.
Which means you have to face all the...
Which means you have to feel the feelings that you're scared of, but slowly. Like I didn't just in an instant. I couldn't just walk up to the girl I hated for years. I can't force myself to get over fear in order to comfort the part of me that is being forced to get over fear. Yeah. Like it has to be this slow dance. What I've been doing. And what we did today is called titration, which is where you go in a little bit and then you feel safe, and then you go in a little bit, and you might have a couple more months of doing that till you get to where you can hold that little girl. Yeah. Or it could be, like both me and Pietze have had fear, PTSD, panic attacks, and
I'm sorry.
They're horrible. I think it took Pietze a year or two to get through.
Yeah, I actually I had really horrible PTSD anxiety that developed, and I couldn't drive for like a year. Every time I would drive, I would get a panic attack. I would imagine worst case scenario. I can't keep myself safe. I can't keep my kids safe. And, a lot of it is, I think one of the hardest things when you're working through trauma is the tension of allowing the process to happen. And it reminds me a lot of like giving birth, where it's like, when I was giving birth, one of the things that I recognized is the more afraid I was of the process, the more I fought against the process. Yes. And it made it more painful. Yeah. Because I'm tensing up, I'm resisting it, I'm trying to. And what I had to do was allow myself to get safe and be okay in the process and allow the process to happen. And sometimes that means you push, right? Part of getting the baby there is pushing. But if you push too prematurely, or when it's not the right time, you actually just wear yourself out in the process, and you have to let the process flow. And I want to say this to you, Kat, too. There's a reason that 5-year-old little girl developed that scary suit that scares you. Yeah. She developed that because she didn't know what to do with her pain, that she had to do something for self-protection. And so to try to hold her and embrace her when she's in the scary suit feels scary to you. Yeah. That it takes her feeling safe enough inside to I think the analogy of the bath was actually so beautiful in so many ways, because it wasn't just her feeling vulnerable. It's the fact that she felt vulnerable enough to not have to wear the suit, that's the only way that you could connect in. Yeah. Yeah. And that takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of compassion, and it takes a lot of courage. And like Abby was saying, the titration of we're going in a little bit, but we're not overwhelming you. We're coming back out and allowing it to be a process, and just allowing yourself to sit in the process of working through trauma actually is what you have to think. You're not standing still in it. You're moving, you're allowing the process to happen. Yeah. But if you push the process, you're slowing the process down.
And that's where we have to have not an agenda for where we're going. So in it, I was like, my agenda isn't to get you to the little girl. Yeah. Because if that's the agenda, we're going to have to run over you to get to the outcome. Yeah. My agenda is to move with you where you want to move, and what and how you do. And so to me, the fact that the little girl could get in the bathtub, huge deal. The fact that the little girl could let Pietze come comfort her. Yeah. The fact that you could feel compassion for a few minutes towards the little girl, where you could connect to her more, where you could empathize with her more. The fact that you could take a step towards her and then regulate. To me, I'm looking at all of those things as these are massive wins, and these are huge deals. But if we're trying to get to a destination, we shame ourselves or we beat ourselves up, and that ends up, when we try to get to a destination, it blocks us from getting there faster. Just like she was saying, the resistance.
Yeah.
it's so interesting how like counterintuitive it feels for, I guess if you are thinking from an agenda or to protect yourself, like all of this has not been where my mind has gone to of how to solve this problem. I mean, a little bit, but yeah.
We want to fix it. We want to do all of the things to get rid of all of the fear. But to me, so PTSD every time was letting me know, hey, you ran over me in this situation that was really scary, and I need you to tell me again. And just for some of you, we talked to Kat a little bit before this episode, and there was a few things that she had gone through that she didn't want to share publicly on the episode, which is why we have kept it not about her story. But what happens is when we go through things that are scary, whether it's when we're little or when we're bigger and we run over it, it often lies dormant until some point in our life where it all comes up again.
What happened 7 months ago.
Yes.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that for the rest of your life, things like that will happen. Because if you learn to reconcile with yourself, it won't need to scream at you. And so I know that you're like, no, I am connected to myself. I am reconciling. You've got to see that as like, no, that's a process. It's taken me years. Like I look at myself in a relationship. I was harsh on myself for years. It's going to take my soul a little while to convince it that I'm not harsh anymore.
Yeah.
And there's still so many habits. So just giving yourself permission. For any of you guys out there listening, Justin calls panic attacks pain attacks. So it's less about trying to get over your fear and more about trying to grieve the pain that is trying to come up through it.
Yeah.
So when you get on go ahead, Pietze.
I just want to say that I love when Justin first shared that with me. I was like, that is so brilliant, because that's really what it is it is a pain attack. There is something actually coming up, and our job is not to just try to get ourselves through it. But if we can connect to like, okay, I'm safe. Like, what is the pain coming up, and what do I need to grieve? Like, what do I need an emotional expression to let out of my body, I think is so key. That really helped me. Understanding that.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, like for me in PTSD, I would like find myself hiding in my closet. That's how severe it would be for me. I'd be hiding in my closet behind the clothes, and I'd be allowing myself to. So it wasn't like I can push through shit. I've pushed through shit my whole life. That's how I got here. But what I needed was to do exactly what my body wanted me to do and allow it to feel exactly what my body wanted it to feel. My body wanted to hide in the closet. It wanted to feel safe. And then allow myself to grieve and feel the reasons why that I never took care of it when it needed that. And then I can come out. And I am a big fan of like, what I love about you is you're like, I'm not going to get stuck in fear. And I think we can bow to fear. And like Pietze, who didn't want to drive, and you who don't want to fly on a plane, you could decide I'm never, ever, ever going to drive again or fly again. And that would be, that's the thing you guys are both avoiding, which is I don't want to be stuck in this forever. Yeah. There's a middle ground, which is I can allow myself to have this for a season and know that I will be brave and I will make choices. Because I'm going to face the pain. I'm not going to avoid the pain by avoiding planes. I'm going to face the pain that's coming up in me. And then eventually that's going to make it easier to be on planes. Yeah.
And I do just want to say that the cool thing about this whole process, Kat, is that every time you have a panic attack come up and you don't abandon yourself and you connect to self-compassion and you allow yourself to do what you need to feel safe, you are healing the original wound.
Yes.
You're actually even healing. You're taking steps subconsciously towards healing that 5-year-old little girl. Yeah. You're reconnecting just by doing the thing that you haven't gotten to do your whole life, which is I'm okay to be a mess. I'm okay to allow myself to, I am worthy of love. I'm okay to let myself move through emotion. I can attune to myself in that. Yeah. And all of that is like not just healing you in the moment, it's actually healing the original wound, which is such a cool thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, I have no idea how to be present with myself in the middle of a panic attack.
Well,
That sounds very hard, but I'm sure it's possible.
the goal then would be like in a panic attack to not be like, why is this happening? I should be through this already. The goal
Not
would
to
be
shame yourself.
not to shame yourself. The goal is like, it's okay. I'm going to make it ththrough this. And then to go towards regulation.
Yeah.
Like in a panic attack, what do I
Even
need
if you need
to feel regulated? Is there somebody that can go hug me? I need to get off the plane. I'm going to talk to you're safe. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like doing whatever self-talk you need, and then being able to go get the comfort that you need afterwards without beating yourself up for still being here, without being mad that it's still happening.
Yeah.
We're talking about accepting
Yeah.
that there's pain in the little girl and it's okay. She's not through it.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But it's good because you're such a good textbook case. A million people do a million counseling sessions to get out instead of also accepting and loving in the journey within.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you're doing so good. You're being so brave.
Thanks,
You're
guys.
so articulate. You were so connected. I just feel so proud of you.
Aw.
And I actually love that we ended without you getting to resolve, because that
I
kind
do
of
too.
feels like the point of this episode for all the people listening.
Yeah.
All of the performers are like me and they just want to get to the finish line. We just want to like figure out
My hands
what
up
is
for
the
that.
emotional health tool that I use? How do I use it? And how do I be done already?
Yeah.
Which is funny because most people enter, like if they get into life consulting or
Because of that.
you know, they're like,
Yep.
okay, so here's the problem. I need the
me
tools
the
because I
5
need to get
steps.
out as soon as possible. Give me the 5
100%.
steps so I can get out and stop feeling this way. And then we're great, right?
Yeah.
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 So
You're
you
like-
were very brave. And this is a beautiful representation of what the healing process looks like, where we just take a little bit at a time, waves at a time. We feel, and then we learn to love and accept, and then we feel and we learn to love and accept, and we reparent. And
Yeah. Well, thank
And
did
all
so
of
good.
that, and all of that work is actually what is starting to create the pathway, even for the brain out of trauma. It's starting to create a new pathway. It's all this little work. It's all of these little steps. It's all of that's creating the new pathway, you know?
Yeah.
So it's all purposeful and it's good stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
amazing. I feel like that was probably one of the best like moments I've had in this journey of actually being just okay with where I'm at. Yeah.
well, I love that little girl and I love adult you. And I'm really proud of both of you.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to jump off, but share this with people that you know, if they're on the journey of healing, if they have panic attacks, if they just don't know how to feel, I'm sure this is going to touch so many people. I could feel my own, this is why I love people walking through this. I could feel my own tenderness towards myself for my own panic stuff while we were going through this. So thank you so much for being so brave. Me and Pietze are going to do a series of these, walking people through stuff. So you're probably going to like it.
This one's probably the best one.
It's the
Absolutely.
best.
All right. Thanks, guys.